Bubba Wallace joins the list of NASCAR Cup Series drivers who will be running the Bristol truck race. David Wills says that there needs to be a change in the weekend of how the races go for Cup. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be joining the drivers who will be racing in the iRacing Pro Invitational Series. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got quite a few NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start off with all the sponsor announcements that have happened over the last couple days. Let's start off with Andy's Frozen Custard. It was announced Wednesday that Andy's Frozen Custard is going to be sponsoring Austin Dillon at the All-Star race at Texas Motor Speedway. Paint scheme has not been revealed at this time, but really, really awesome. Andy's Frozen Custard is coming in to sponsor Austin Dillon. I really like Andy's Frozen Custard. I've had it quite a few times, and it's really, really good food as well. And it's really awesome. Andy's Frozen Custard is stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Austin Dillon at the All-Star race. The next paint scheme and sponsor news we're going to talk about is Timmy Hill, as this weekend Supreme Transportation Group will be sponsoring Timmy Hill in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Cup Series as well. Really awesome that Supreme Transportation is stepping up to play. I really don't have much to say about this paint scheme, but I am really happy that Supreme Transportation is stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Timmy Hill this weekend in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series and helping out MBM as well continue to grow. The next paint scheme news we're going to take a look at is Ryan Newman's 2021 Coca-Cola Aggressive Hydraulic Scheme that we will see at the Bristol Dirt Truck Race. Now, Ryan Newman will have to qualify into this event as well. This paint scheme I really, really like a lot. I like the Coca-Cola branding on the front of the car. I think the red and the white contrast very, very well. And it's a really nice paint scheme to definitely look at. It's going to be really good to see, and I really like this paint scheme a lot. The next paint scheme news we're going to take a look at is Ryan Vargas and Landon Kelsey's 2021 Main Tex X paint scheme that we will see this weekend here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I like the Sunshine and the Sunset paint scheme quite a bit. I think it's really, really awesome that Ryan Vargas continues to pick up sponsors. You know, it's really, really awesome. He's continuing to pick up sponsors, and I can't wait to see this car on the racetrack. I really like both these cars a lot. It's great to see they're both locked into the race as well. Love these paint schemes quite a bit. The final paint scheme news we're going to go ahead and take a look at is Joe Graf Jr.'s 2021 Hazard scheme, as he is going to be sponsored by Little Aaron and Little Exotis. Grammy Award winners will be sponsoring this weekend. This paint scheme looks really, really fire, and I think it's really awesome if Joe Graf Jr. continues to pick up sponsorship. Of course, he's associated with Antonio Williams, who's been able to find a lot of sponsors for him, and it's really awesome that Hazard is stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Joe Graf Jr. I really do like this paint scheme a lot. I hope he can do really well in this paint scheme because he's had a couple of good performances this year. And hopefully this will give him some good luck. And hopefully he will be able to continue to have some really good luck. And hopefully he's able to have a great run here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into all the other major stories that we're going to discuss in today's episode. Let's start off with Matt Jaskol, as he is going to be running 4 races in 2021 for MBM Motorsports, starting at Martinsville in May. Now, for those of you who need a little backstory, Matt Jaskol has a lot of experience on auto racing, but it's been quite a few years since he actually has raced. He actually was a teammate of AJ Allmendinger coming up through the ranks in the Indy Lights and Champ Car World in the Atlantic Series, and he also is a stuntman as well in Hollywood. So Matt Jaskol has a lot of experience, but this will be the first time he's jumping into a NASCAR stock car. He's, like I said, he's raced in Indy cars in the past, not like the main Indy Series, but he's racing like Indy cars in open wheel cars. But it's been quite a few years since he's been back in a race car, and I find it really awesome that a guy like this, who's a stuntman in Hollywood as well, is an actor as well, is getting an opportunity to race. I hope he can do very, very well, and hope he can do great. Again, I don't really have any much expectations because I don't think he's ever raced in a stock car to my knowledge, but it's really, really awesome that Matt Jaskol is getting an opportunity, and hope he can perform well in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race for MBM Motorsports. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to be talking about National Superspeedway, as they're going to be adding additional grandstands for the Cup race. Now, no announcements have been for sure how many fans are going to be allowed. It's been to be determined at this point. But right now, currently at the moment, National Superspeedway holds 25,000 fans. And as the numbers continue to go up and fans being allowed at racetracks, as the tracks continue to announce how many fans are going to be allowed, we're starting to see increased numbers. I mean, recently, we just saw that Pocono was announced that they're going to be having 50% capacity for their June races. I mean, Texas is probably going to have 50% capacity for many of their races as well. And even we're seeing out league games that are starting to allow 100% capacity, especially at Texas, with, of course, the social distancing protocols and all that stuff. That's a rule, and the mask being required to be worn at those events. I think they're going to be from 25,000 to 40,000. Again, numbers have not been announced. I would assume, since the race isn't until June 20th, there is a very good chance that the numbers will be up to 50% in attendance. And by then, all vaccines are going to be started for the public. So I'm going to definitely tell you that a lot of people are probably going to go get that vaccine. And as more people continue vaccine, the number of fans being a lot of races is going to continue. But really, really awesome that National Super Speedway is continuing, and really awesome to see that they're going to be having additional temporary grandstands for fans going to races. I really wanted to go to Nashville this year, but I'm probably not going to go this year, unfortunately, to that race. But yeah, really awesome that Nashville is going to be allowing additional seating for their upcoming races. As I'm currently editing today's video, it was just announced by Bob Pockers that Kurt Busch, Christopher Bell, and Chase Briscoe are going to be doing Goodyear tire tests at National Super Speedway this upcoming Tuesday, March 23rd. This will not be open to public, so you'll probably have some drone shots showing this tire test. This tire test is probably to test like the tire wear in the car, how good the tire fall off is, and to see how long the tires are going to last on these cars. Because again, this I think is a concrete track. They've been doing renovations around the track, so I'm wondering if the tire fall off is going to matter or not. I don't think they've repaved the track since the last time we came, unless they are repaving it for the first time they're coming back to the Cup Series. But I think that this test is going to be really important because we're coming back here. We're going to have 750 horsepower package racing, and hopefully this tire test goes very well, and we'll probably talk about it later this week. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into the next story of today's episode, as Ryan Blaney last night basically trolled everybody. He basically said that he was going to be doing double duty in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. But you have to really think about this. Ryan Blaney's not on the entry list. He is going to be up in the booth for the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, joining Tyler Reddick in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and joining Vince Welch and Michael Waltrip in the Truck Series booth. So he'll be in the booth all day for both races tomorrow afternoon. Ryan Blaney was basically trolling, saying he was going to run the races, and then he got mad at Bob Pockers, who knows everything. He's like, dang it, Bob, why do you have to know everything? Brian Blaney, I think, has a lot of character. I think he's a funny guy as well, and I think he brings a lot of energy to the booth, and I think he's going to do a very good job in the booth. Good luck to him, and hopefully he can do a really good job, because I think he'll bring a lot of detail to the broadcast booth, and I think he will do a really good job here tomorrow afternoon. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are talking about J.R. Hefner, as he is going to be driving the 3 truck for Jordan Anderson Racing at Bristol Dirt. Now, this car should be locked into the race, so on the owner's point side of things, so if they have to go back to owner's points, they should be able to get in regardless. J.R. Hefner has quite a few races ran in the Eldora Dirt Derby and the Truck Series, so he's had quite a bit of experience in the bus number class as well. He has a lot of experience, and to me, I think dirt experience is going to become a major part of seeing how good you are or not. I think that he has a really good shot for top 20. We've seen this truck perform very well and have some top 20 runs, especially when Jordan's been in the truck. And we also saw Ryan Newman run really well in this truck as well. So I think that dirt experience is going to matter a lot more than it is not. And I think J.R. Hefner will be very, very competitive. I'm really happy to see that J.R. Hefner is going to be back in the Truck Series, and glad to see that he was pretty sure locked in the event, and great to see that he is going to be running in the Truck Series once again. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are going to go ahead and talk about Chris Wright, as unfortunately, Chris Wright is going to be missing the Atlanta Truck Series race due to unfortunately catching COVID-19. Now, he's the only one on that pit crew right now, that is anyone on that team right now, including pit crews and crew chiefs, that is only missing the race. Everyone, they've had contract racing, and he is good. He's the only one that will be missing the race. The guy that will be replacing him is Junior Motorsports Xfinity Series driver Josh Berry. I'm really hoping Chris Wright, and wishing him well. Hopefully he can come back to the racetrack very, very soon, and hoping he doesn't have any more COVID-19 here in the foreseeable future. As for Josh Berry, man, I think that this, again, is a very, very good opportunity for him. I think he's running 12 races this year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he's had some pretty good runs so far in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports. He's been able to bounce back at Homestead. Unfortunately, Phoenix did not go well, but he's had some pretty solid performances. I know Junior Motorsports overall hasn't had a great year, but he's had some solid performances overall, and a guy that has a lot of talent. And I think he'll do very, very well in this truck for Young's Motorsports. I think while these trucks are not overall the fastest trucks out on the racetrack, I think Josh Berry does have a lot of talent. We've seen what he can do in late models. We can see what he can do in Xfinity Series. And I do think that Josh Berry will do very well. And good luck to Josh Berry, because I'm hoping for a very strong run for him. And hopefully he can get a top 20 with this team and get them some good points as well. Because I think Chris Wright does have talent. We've seen what he's been able to do in IMSA. Again, he hasn't been fantastic so far in the Truck Series. But again, the Young Motorsports trucks are generally not the fastest trucks out there. But yeah, I am very, very happy that Josh Berry is getting an opportunity to run in the Truck Series, and wishing Chris Wright the best of luck, and hopefully he'll be back to the racetrack very, very soon at Bristol Dirt. Hopefully he can race very, very soon. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we're going to go ahead and talk about Maya Cider. As it was announced yesterday that Maya Cider is going to also be racing the Bristol Dirt Truck Series race for Ray and Brothers in the 33 truck with Louisiana Hot Sauce, on the car. It was already announced from the Rayun Brothers organization that Jake Griffith is going to be driving the 34 truck for them. And now it's been confirmed that Maya Cider is going to be coming back and racing the 33. Now, it was originally stated that Devin Rouse was going to drive the Rayun Brothers truck in the 33 truck. But because of family issues and other obligations, sponsor obligations, Devin Rouse is not going to be racing in the Truck Series event. So now, Maya Cider is the one who's going to be racing in this event. To me, I think Maya Cider has had a pretty good year in Xfinity, though the last couple races for him have not been impressive. He was the winner at Homestead, so he is locked into the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. And he's been overall a pretty impressive driver, especially in trucks. I mean, with the Thor Sport organization, I know 2018 when he drove the 13 truck, he wasn't very, very impressive. But I saw some pretty impressive runs, especially in Martinsville, when he's able to get a few top fives. And while I think the Rayun Brothers trucks are not that fast, I think, like I said, a lot of dirt experience is going to be very, very important. I mean, Mike Marlar got a top 5 with his truck at Eldora in 2019. A guy that really has had much experience in trucks, but a guy that's had a lot of dirt experience. He was able to get basically a top 5 in those trucks. And I think dirt experience is going to play. And we see what Maya Cider can do. And to me, I'm very, very happy that the Louisiana Hot Sauce man is bringing it down, and really glad to see that Maya Cider is getting an opportunity. I think his goal is to try to finish top 20 and get as good of a finish as he can in the NASCAR Truck Series. Really awesome to see that he is going to be running the NASCAR Truck Series event at the Bristol Dirt. And now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the next story of today's episode, as we're going to talk about practice and qualifying once again. David Wilson had an interview recently with SiriusXM, actually yesterday as a matter of fact, and he brought some insight into talking about practice qualifying. I'm going to read some of the quotes from that interview yesterday. He said, "I think the industry has learned something that we never would have before. We would never have had the courage to think collectively, say, let's not have practice right. I mean, that just sounds ridiculous. We don't need to revert back to our habits of 50-minute practice and qualifying. It's unnecessary. It is inexpensive." I'm going to say this right here about the thought of bringing back practice and qualifying. I will agree that we do not need 3 50-minute practice sessions. I do agree that it is expensive, that there were 3 50-minute practice sessions. I think that you also can argue that it is expensive. But I will say this, practice and qualifying in general needs to come back plain and simple. I think you need 1 50-minute practice session, a happy hour session, and you also need a qualifying session. 1, drivers can get a lot of experience and they can learn and also work with their new crew chiefs as well. Think about how many crew chief changes we saw this year. People like Kyle Busch and Ben Bayshore could be up to speed a lot faster. I think, yes, of course, them not having as much experience with Kyle Busch in the past, that probably is a big contributing factor to that. But Kyle Busch and Ben Bayshore can learn from each other, and Kyle Busch can be more competitive, and he could probably be up at the top for contending for wins. But the fact there hasn't been practice qualifying this year, he's not learned much about himself working with Ben Bayshore. So that's one thing right there. Second thing, teams can always find the problems that they have in their cars, and you won't have a situation like what happened in Martinsville last year where like 20 cars were off the lap for the competition yellow, and even competitive teams like Ryan Blaney's team ended up coming back up to the front, and Denny Hamlin's team, who was basically a lap down at the end of the day. And the other thing, and you also don't have these guys having to go to the rear as well for like technical issues, and they don't have to make unnecessary adjustments that they could have made behind the garage and wouldn't have had to go to the rear. And the final thing I want to argue and say is that this screws teams over. There's no practice qualifying. This screws teams over, like Jordan Anderson's team, the Bassett brothers, and even our Motorsports had to do some crazy things to get both of their cars in the race. I mean, they had to take the Rayun Brothers car, the 23 RSS racing car, and basically take over that car. So to me, like I said, I don't think we need 3 50-minute practice sessions, but we absolutely need qualifying back on the racetrack. You need to have qualifying, because I'm not, 100% against the draws that they do, but again, I think I'd rather just have a regular qualifying lineup set for the race, set for Bristol. I think the way they're doing Bristol is definitely interesting with the heats. But to me, I absolutely do think that we need to bring practice and qualifying back regardless, and you need to at least have 1 50-minute practice session, and you 100% need to have qualifying back on the racetrack. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next story of today's episode. As was announced yesterday, according to CERN, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be racing in the Pro Invitational Series that will air this year on Fox Sports starting next Wednesday at Bristol Dirt. Unilever Brands will be the sponsor alongside the Walmart Plus membership program, starting with Degree. Really, really awesome news here that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be racing in the Pro Invitational once again. It'd be like in the Cup Series field, even though it is not the Cup Series, even though it is Cup Series field, it's like he's going to be back in the Cup Series with the 88 car as well. I am very, very happy that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be racing in the Pro Invitational. He actually raced in it last year, and he almost won the first race back when they had the first Pro Invitational last year with him being edged out by Denny Hamlin at the end of the day. Dale Jr. is really the first driver that had a lot of praise for the iRacing programs. And I think iRacing does have a lot of issues going on, by the way. I think Bristol is going to be a disaster overall. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., man, racing in the Pro Invitational is really, really awesome. And I think more people will have eyes on it because Dale Earnhardt Jr. is like the voice of NASCAR. Someone who understands what's going on and understands the appeal of keeping traditionalism, but also keeping the future of the sport. And also, like I said, he is a guy that has a lot of experience on iRacing and a guy that can contend overall for the iRacing wins. We saw what he could do in iRacing. He almost won Homestead. And to me, I think Dale Jr. is going to do a very good job in these iRacing events. I think he has a very good shot of winning these races, and hopefully he will do very, very well. I am just so happy that Dale Jr. is racing. It's been rumored for a little bit that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to race in the iRacing Pro Invitational, but now it's 100% confirmed, and I'm very, very happy, and hopefully he has a content shot to win these events because I think he will do a really good job overall. But I will say one thing about the Pro Invitational. I don't know why we're running on Bristol dirt, and I really don't understand why we're racing on Circuit Americas when we have practice and qualifying for those events. I thought we were running the iRacing Pro Invitational for the tracks that did not have practice and qualifying, like the other three tracks. The other three tracks, and I can't remember exactly what they are, because I really don't care about the Pro Invitational. But I just don't understand why Circuit Americas and Bristol dirt have practice qualifying, will have a iRacing Pro Invitational when you have practice qualifying that's coming back. That's just my opinion on that. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the final story of today's episode. Like I said, another Cup Series driver is going to be running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series race. Bubba Wallace is going to be running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series race in the number 11 car for Spencer Davis Motorsports with Hattori Racing backing with Columbia Sportswear on the race truck. Now, I was told this on Tuesday that this was going to happen. Now, some of the things are not true. That he was supposed to run a second Hattori racing truck, but now it's confirmed that he'll be driving for Spencer Davis Racing. Like I said, when I heard this news a couple days ago, I was really, really excited. And I think while Bubba Wallace is not 100% the favorite to win this race, you have guys like Stuart Friese and Kyle Larson and even Haley Deegan and other dirt racers that are going to be in the event. I think Bubba Wallace is very underrated for not just the Cup Series race, but for the Truck Series as well. And the reason I say that is because Bubba Wallace actually won this race in 2014, heads up against Kyle Larson. He held Kyle Larson. Yes, of course, he was driving a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck, but he did not have a lot of dirt experience coming into that event. And Bubba Wallace was contending. And like I said, this truck has Hattori backing, and Hattori has been a team that has been competing for championships with Austin Hill. I mean, just remember 2018 with Brett Moffitt. They were able to win the championship. They were very, very fast that year. And Austin Hill in 2019 and 2020 was super, super fast in those races. 2019 getting beat out by Matt Kraft because of the point system he had. In 2020 getting beat out because they had an engine failure at Martinsville in the final race, which took them out, which they were arguably the most consistent team of that year. And they got a few wins like at Kansas and I can't remember the other race they won that year. But they got a couple wins that season. And I think that this team has a very good shot of overall winning race. I think Bubba Wallace is very underrated for the win. Like I said, he won this race in 2014. So I think he overall has a fantastic shot to win. I think he's going to do a very good job overall. And like I said, I think this car is locked up because if I remember correctly, I heard this yesterday as well, Joe Nemechek's organization, Nemco Motorsports, and 11 team of Spencer Davis Racing. I think they switched their owners' points, if I'm not mistaken, for the upcoming event, so for this week in Atlanta. So that's why Spencer Davis Racing is also going to be racing in the event. I know LG Toledo's definitely happy, that's for sure. But yeah, really, really, really happy that Bubba Wallace is getting an opportunity to race in the Truck Series event. I think he's going to do very, very well. I think his goal is overall to win this event. And look at this too. You have so many Cup Series drivers that are running the Bristol Dirt Truck Series race. You have Martrix Jr. in the 51 truck. You have Chase Briscoe in the 04 for Roper Racing. Kyle Larson in the East Motorsports truck. Kevin Hart for DGR. You have Mike Marlar, who's going double duty in the 66 Cup Series car for MBM, and Timmy Hill's 56 truck. You have Stuart Friesen, who's making his NASCAR Cup Series debut in the 77 truck. And then, of course, you have other race car drivers that are going to be also running as well and trying to do double double vision as well. And you also have guys that are racing the Cups, racing the Bristol Internationals as well, like Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, who's running today as well, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon. The list of drivers that are going out there and trying to get experience for this major event, for the Cup Series event, is really, really awesome to see. And I'm definitely really, really excited to see the Bubba Wallace. I think he overall has a shot to win. I think his guy can contend overall for the victory. And good luck to Bubba Wallace. And hopefully he can go out there and contend for the victory and try to win his first Truck Series race since he did in 2017. He's got 6 career victories and be looking for his first win in the NASCAR Truck Series since Michigan in 2017 when he drove the 99 truck. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon. Links in the description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Bubba Wallace racing in the Bristol Truck Series race? How well do you think he's going to do? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about David Wilson's thoughts on practice and qualifying and Dale Earnhardt Jr. racing in the iRacing Pro Invitational Series? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. Do that, I would greatly and truly appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.